Hey, it's Craig Syracusa, and welcome to another episode of Walk in Faith, the show where we go beyond the image and we discover who our guests really are. You might know them from TV, the big screen, or even the world of sports, but do we really know who they are as a person? Do we know what motivates them? Do we know what inspires them? Well, that's what we're here to find out. On this episode of Walk in Faith, I had the opportunity to sit down with Argentinian actor Gastoń Pauls, whose new movie, Palau, the movie tells the incredible story of Luis Palau. Stay tuned and walk with us. So Gastoń, thank you so much. We had the opportunity to speak a little bit, but I don't believe in coincidences at all. Whenever I get an opportunity to meet someone or, cover a movie or a book, I always say, what is God, or why is God leading me to this person, or what am I going to learn from this experience? Now, when you did this film, how did you get the opportunity, and why do you think God gave you the opportunity?
Maybe we should ask God that, but I think that, I live in darkness for a long time. For 15 years I live in darkness, addicted to cocaine. And one night, after 3 nights being up, I raised my head for the first time in my life and I said, wow, God, please help me, because I can't find a way out of this. I don't know where's the light, So God gave me that help. And I think that God needs me in a good place, And so I think that this movie is another step in my path, in my way. So I always say, God, thank you, God. Rebecca, thank you. She's the producer of this movie. But I think that while I'm here answering you this question, I'm in a good site, in a good place. So I think that God needs me in a good mood, in a good place, and so that's why I'm here.
That's great. And how did you prepare for this? Did you have the opportunity to meet Luis Palau?
Yes. Well, I told you a few minutes ago, the first time I heard about Luis, I became aware of Luis 16 years ago. When I was working on a TV show, a documentary TV show. I made it a documentary about a visit, about a festival that he hosted in Buenos Aires. That was my first time with Luis. Not with Luis, I went there just to talk with the people who went to see him. And after that, 5 years after that, Luis called me on the phone just to say thank you.
How many years after? 5?
Yes.
After you finished?
The festival was 16 years ago.
Wow.
5 years after that, Luis called me on the phone and he said, thank you for that TV show, the documentary that you did, and I hope God one day will bring us together again. So 2 years.
Well, what was your reaction when he said that to you? You didn't think anything of it?
I raised my head again and I said, thank you, Lord. This man is calling me just to say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the TV show that you did. So, in 2 years ago, I received a phone call from Miami just to say, we are thinking about making a movie about Luis's life and we are considering you for the main role. And I said, God, thank you for this. Thank you for this opportunity, for this honor. And after that, I flew to Portland, to Oregon, to meet him. And I love his humanity, his humility. And that is the only thing that I knew that I had to put in the movie, His way of looking, his humanity, his humility, he's with God, and he's present all the time. He's there, Luis. So it's an honor for me to be here.
Did he say anything to you, or was there any advice that he gave you that you used during the film?
No. Just
no?
Be free,
Be free.
Just be free. Do what you think that you have to do. So I felt free. I felt with no pressures, you know. And I think that it's because Luis is a really strong man, because he's poor. You know, when I said poor, I mean, he knows about everything, about God, about men, about life, and he's really generous. So he said that
just being
feel
around him,
free.
just the presence and knowing him, I guess, was enough for you to sort of embody that character.
Yes, but I think that I saw a lot of videos of Luis talking in front of maybe millions of people, but what I really wanted to know is how is Luis in this situation,
Exactly.
you know, in front of another person, and he's there. He's there. Love you, Luis.
That's funny because that's exactly one of the reasons why we do the show, because you have these celebrities and these authors and these athletes,
Yes.
and we see their persona on TV.
Yes.
But I always want to know, who are you? Forget about the
Yes.
persona and the Nike ads. It's like, who are you as a person when the lights are off, when
Yes.
nobody's paying attention to you, when you're home
Yes.
alone. That's who we always want to know. And watching the film, like there was a scene in the beginning where I know you didn't play it, but when Luis's father passes away, right?
Yes.
And I'm a father, you're a father, and
It was me. It was me. I made
That was you? That was your
yes,
little
yes,
baby?
yes, yes.
They shrunk
Say
you.
it, yes.
But,
I'm an actor. Yes.
So that was a difficult scene for me to just
Yes.
to watch, because we start to think about our own lives and our own kids. Was that difficult for you when you were reading it, or what was your reaction when you started to read that
I
scene?
cried a lot. It's not so easy for a little kid at his age lost his father, you know. And that is why I think that Luis is really so important in this world, because he chose a different way. You know, he chose the way of the path of God and love, and it was not. It was a really difficult moment for Luis at that age, but I think the movie is really clear with that. I mean, we are trying to talk about second chances in life. How can you manage a difficult situation? You know, how can you choose the right way, the right path? And Luis, he does that all the time. He chooses the best way.
And like you said, to being an evangelist or a preacher like Luis, that's a very difficult path to take. People don't always agree with God or want to have anything to do with faith. And, he was able to overcome adversity. Do you think if God called you to do something like Luis, be a preacher, or to use your gifts to, tell his story or tell his message, do you think you have the ability to do that? Would you answer that call?
Yes, I believe that. I think that God is always talking to us, now, here, in this particular moment. Now I choose to hear, to listen that voice. Maybe 16 years ago, I was on my way and doing my things my own way, in my own way. I love one scene in the movie. There's a scene that happens after some hardships Luis went through in the middle of the movie, where he has to break through to begin building a citywide festival in Bogota. In that scene, I said something like, I say, it's not my glory, it's for the glory of God. And I really believe that now. In every little thing that we do here in this interview, I think that we should glorify God.
I agree.
We should glorify God, and we can do that. It's not so difficult.
I agree. I want to talk about that. That's like my next question. We'll be right back with Gastoń Pauls on Walk in Faith. Welcome back. I'm with Gastoń Pauls. So you've mentioned a lot about adversity and stuff, especially that scene where he sort of had his breakdown, right? And we spoke a little bit off camera about your own personal life. And I started to think about, did you go through a similar situation where where you had your addiction and there was nowhere else to turn, right? And you called up to God, and He sort of obviously answered your prayers because you're sitting here now healthy. Did you have a similar situation that you went through?
Yes.
And what did you learn from that?
A lot of times. And while I was doing that sin, I remembered, now I remember that I remembered a lot of things about my life, my own life. I told you, I lived in darkness for so many years, that when you see the light, and when you pay attention to that voice, you start to pay attention to that voice, God's voice, everything changed, everything changed. And now I'm a different person. I'm not a different person. Now I am Gastoń. Maybe 12 years ago, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Now I know that I am Gastoń because I feel Christ here, God is here, God is here, God is here. So I'm so happy for that. It's my new life. It's the real life. This is the real life.
You're right. And during those times when you're, whether it's addicted to something or you're stuck within society's sort of the means, you lose sight of what makes you happy and what's important. And then when you're able to connect with God in your faith, you see what the true meaning of happiness is.
Of course. I thought, maybe 12 years ago, that a little paper, this size, was happiness, and it was just a powder, it was cocaine. And now I believe that hell is there. When we listen or we hear something about hell, where the hell is inside. No, hell maybe for me is just the size. Cocaine for me is hell. Cocaine is a lie, and I don't want lies in my life now. I just need the truth. I need to live in the truth, and I need to believe that everyone in this world, everyone can find God and find the truth.
You're right, and it's like you said, it's your mindset. It's the way you see the world.
Yes.
Because you could see the world in a negative sense. You could see, the devil or the evil everywhere, and you can also see it where it's love, it's God.
Yes.
And now, how do you? Because it's easy to say it, right? But every day we wake up, we have fears, we have anxieties, and sort of the enemy pulls us in the other direction. How do you stay? What do you do? Meditate? How do you stay, sort of within that realm to where you're devoted to your faith and devoted to keeping your life on track?
I always try to pray, to read book, to read the Bible, to share my feelings, my fears with another person. We are sharing some thoughts or some words, some feelings here. I think that is the more important thing in life to share, And I don't know if it's the same in English, but in Spanish, addicted is when you don't say words. Diction in Spanish is decir, is to say. And addiction is when you don't say those words. Do you understand the difference? Yes. Adicción y dicción. I think it's not the same in English, but so I think that maybe the first lesson is to share your feelings. It's an easy thing to do when you start doing that. So I'm here sharing my life.
And your story, it's because it's not about us, right? It's like you said earlier, it's about God. It's about
God.
how God uses us,
Yes.
not how we could sort of please Him.
But we are part of that God.
And you are sharing your story and inspiring people and telling people out there that maybe are going through a similar situation that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe that, like, if you put your life and your focus on God, you find true happiness.
Of course.
You'll never find happiness in materialistic items.
No.
Never.
Never.
I mean, it's
Never.
just not. But people believe that. And society
Yes.
tells us that if you buy
People
the new
still
car and the
believe
clothes
that.
and the house, you'll find happiness. But you don't find true happiness.
We should work we must work on the other side, and bring the truth to the people. I mean, bring light and show that when you have a friend, when you can raise your hand to say, please help me, to another person or to God, it's the first step to be in the good place.
And that's what this film has done, really. I mean, watching that film,
Yes.
I was inspired.
Yes.
I mean, this film, do you think the film has the ability to inspire and evangelize?
I hope that if this film can change just one life,
That's it.
is it
I think you'll change a lot more than that. I really do.
just
but yeah,
if
but you'll
we
be
can,
happy with that.
Yes. I think that I will be happy.
That's great. We'll be right back with Gastoń. Welcome back to another episode of Walk in Faith. I'm with Gastoń Pauls. So Gastoń, throughout the film, there were a lot of references to Billy Graham, which I'm a fan of Billy Graham. I think most of us are or were.
It's great. It was great.
Just hearing his voice in one of the scenes where I think it was the younger Luis heard Billy Graham, and then he had the opportunity to meet Billy Graham.
Yes.
His, I think it was the Crusades. So I don't know. One thing is, did you get a chance to meet any of the Graham family? But also, no. I had the opportunity. I worked with his grandson, and fantastic. Just meeting them was something I'll never forget.
Really?
Billy Graham, somebody that inspires me. But is there anyone in your life that you got to meet that sort of inspires you, or anyone that sort of you looked up to, and you had the opportunity to meet that sort of changed your life?
Yes. Well, I heard a lot about Billy Graham, and now that I can talk just a little bit more in English, I read a lot about him, and maybe doing this movie, when I did this movie, I think that I met a lot of people that inspires me in some ways, and I mean, we talk about Danny Rebeck.
Oh, Dan, yeah.
Dan.
Thanks,
Send
Dan.
you a big hug. And no, I think that I'm now, while I'm answering you this, I'm with the person that I wanted to know. I mean, you have something to give me, and I have something to give you. Energy, words, feelings. So I never thought about this before in my life. But now I think that I just wanted to know what God have for me in the next 2 minutes, So I really appreciate this conversation. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy. I am enjoying this conversation because it's not so easy for me to speak in English, but it was easy. It was easy, and the reason is that you are here talking to me with your eyes here present. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. My pleasure. And you mentioned something too about like purpose, like what God wants us to do. And in the film, there was those 3 questions we all ask, like who am I, why am I here, where did I come from, and the last question, or why am I here, right? And which is we all search for the purpose, the meaning of life. And I believe that God gives us all these gifts and these assignments. Yes. What do you think your assignment is? Why do you think God puts you? What do you think your purpose is?
What a last question. What a last. I think that I'm here just to glorify God. I'm here to learn some new things. I'm still learning. I'm 47 now. I have 2 kids. I am enjoying life now, and I think that I can share that, my light, my hope, my love, my voice. I'm an actor. My face, my body. But I'm here to, first of all, glorify God.
That's great. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you very much.
So now, like after each project, do you sit and reflect and think about, what you learned from it, or what the opportunity? Or I know I asked you earlier about why I gave you the opportunity, but what did you learn from this project mostly? What was something you walked away with, or afterwards said, okay, now it makes sense? Because you're talking about 16 years ago, God
Yes.
planted that seed, and there's no
Yes.
way that was a coincidence. And at the
No.
time, you probably didn't even know why you were doing the documentary.
Yes.
Most
Why
of the time, you
this?
don't even want to do it, right? Why did I do this? And then 16 years later, you're here now.
Now I understand.
What did you walk away with? What did you learn from?
That I have to be patient, first of all. That God moves in mysterious way. How do you say that? In
Yeah,
mysterious
that's right.
way. And the only thing that I have to do is just to be clean. Clean here, just to receive all those gifts. It's a gift. For me, to take this coffee, to drink this water, is a gift. Especially in this world, in this crazy world, in this cruel world, it's a gift. And I think I'm not gonna pay for this today.
Of course.
So it's a gift. And I must be really thankful for that. And I want and I need to be clean to receive all those gifts and to share all those gifts with the rest of the world.
And when you sort of changed your life and to stay clean and to be open, did you have to sort of eliminate people from your life to sort of
Yes,
stay within
yes.
that? Was that difficult to
It's
do?
Yes, it was not so easy because I loved a lot of those people, but I think that I want to share my life with clean people, with people who want the same kind of world that I want. So yes, it was a really difficult decision, but
And is this
I had
sort
to
of-
take it.
Has this brought you closer to your family? Or
Yes,
is-
no. With my kids, with my mother, with my brothers, and with my real close friends.
They must be proud of you.
Yeah,
They must be.
yeah. They say something like that sometimes.
That's amazing. So now the film hits theaters, what is it, April 4th, is it?
Next April 4th and 6th, all around Latin America, and in 11 countries in Latin America, and all around the United States. All the profits of this movie will go to the Palau Association,
Wow.
just to keep
All the
working.
profits go there?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's not like a typical Hollywood movie.
No, that's why I'm so happy for that.
And what is there, a website or anything?
PalauTheMovie.com.
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 And now, one last thing. Luis is sick, right?
Yes.
I read online, I think he's battling cancer.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to say to him, or is there anything that, you hope or pray or wish that you could say to him, or do you want to share now?
Love you so much, Luis. You are so important in my life. More than you. Más de lo que crees. I'm gonna say this in Spanish.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Te quiero mucho. Sos muy importante. Casi sin saberlo fuiste muy importante estos 16 años. Así que con todo, y como te gusta decir a vos, con todo, che. Sé que vas por el gran camino que elegiste desde chico. Te quiero. Love you.
Well, Gastoń, you are a true testimony to the faith, to inspiring to me and to everyone that's watching this. So we will support the film, and if there's anything we can do to help you, please ask. Your story is fantastic. God bless you.
Very, very much.
God bless you.
It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Walk in Faith. Always remember, you have the ability to inspire and evangelize through your words and actions. Till next time.